Welcome to the Workamper Show, a podcast devoted to helping you discover how to finance your RV travel dreams. I'm Steve Anderson, the president of Workamper News. Each one of our episodes will either introduce you to people who are already living the RV lifestyle or to opportunities to work short-term jobs. You'll also learn how to hit the road the right way and make the most of every opportunity. Now let's turn over today's show to your host, Greg Gerber.
Thanks, Steve. Today we'll talk with the president of a well-known supplier firm about their products that really help enhance the RV lifestyle and the RVing experience. Today's episode is sponsored by The Dreamer's Journey, a new online course and community produced by Workamper News. Life is way too short to keep your dreams on hold, so don't be held back by fear because you were made for more. Get started with the RV lifestyle the right way with this comprehensive guide. Dreamers can participate in 2 online events every week to learn things like what type of RV to buy, goal setting, how to budget for the adventure, developing a positive mindset, where to call home, how to find a job or start a mobile business. All online events will be recorded for watching at any time. Dreamers can also join an open question and answer session each month. There's no wrong time to get started. For more information, visit www.rvdreamersjourney.com. Bob Brammer is the president of Stromberg Carlson, a company headquartered in Traverse City, Michigan. He grew up in the business founded by his grandfather in the 1950s. The company had started making tools for the automotive and aerospace industries. Then the firm stumbled into the mobile home market by manufacturing steps, skirting, doors, and windows. Over the years, that evolved into the RV market, where Stromberg Carlson makes a number of components found on RVs, like handrails, leveling jacks, steps, and fifth wheel landing gear. The company also produces products that just make RVing more fun, practical, and safer. Bob got involved in the business in a roundabout way. He had left to go to college, got married, and had big plans to enter the advertising world. One night he met his father at a restaurant and they talked about some troubles his dad was having at the company. A short time later, his dad offered him a job and Bob moved back to his hometown to work for the family business. When his father died in 1995, Bob took over the company and it has been producing innovative RV products ever since. Bob Brammer is unique in that he actually owns and uses RVs and has for most of his life. That gives him a wonderful perspective in creating products to address problems RVers commonly experience. He shares some of his most memorable RVing experiences, but then also describes some of the firm's more popular products, like the Lend-A-Rail handrail that makes it much easier to get in and out of RVs. Bob also talks about some accessory products that RVers really enjoy, such as the steak and grill, which allows people to cook over an open fire by pivoting the grill on and off the flames. The grill itself is constructed so that vegetables and hot dogs can't fall off. The company also has several clotheslines that campers really enjoy using to hang out wet towels and swimsuits. Stromberg Carlson also offers simple devices that keep RVs organized. For example, the hose and cord caddy makes it easy to store hoses and power cords when not in use and keeps campsites more tidy when they are in use. To tell us more about Stromberg Carlson and its product line for RV owners, please welcome company president Bob Brammer to the show. Thanks for joining us today, Bob. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to do that. Tell us about Stromberg Carlson and how it got started.
Yeah, back in the 50s, my grandfather was a tool and die man, did a lot of automotive and aerospace tools, Greg. And he was building a product line of manufactured housing step, a folding step that could be shipped with a old-time mobile home, right? And when it came time to pay my grandpa for his tool and die work, the guy didn't have the money. So instead, my grandpa turned around, bought the patents from the man. And my dad, who had been working with my grandpa, 2 very different personalities. My grandpa was old school workaholic, nose to the grindstone, moved here 18 years old from Sweden through Ellis Island. My dad was a little different story, right? Grew up on a farm, enjoyed a cocktail once in a while, smoked cigarettes, and more of a good old boy. So, but he did sell mobile homes in college when he went through Western Michigan University. That was one of his summer jobs, and he knew the market a little bit. And my grandpa set him up selling those steps into the manufactured housing business, which in those days, Greg, guys like Jim Kirshner at Diamond Gyms down in Ohio, and you had Dick Newkirk at Newkirk Trailer Supplies in Indianapolis, John Meredith at Central Mobile Home Supplies. They weren't just mobile home guys; they were RV guys too. You know, they were related industries back in the 60s and 70s. Even when I started working with my dad in the early 80s, they were still involved in that industry. And so, over the years, you know, we got to know more and more of the RV industry. And about the time I came to work for my dad in '83. We were branching out further and further in that direction. There's only so many things you build for manufactured housing, right? Steps, doors and windows because they break.
Mm-hmm.
Steps, skirting, anchors. There's just not a huge a product offering like there is for RVs, right? RVs, just like boating, accessories are what make the trip so much more enjoyable, whether you're cooking over a campfire or just a safety product like a handrail entering and leaving your RV. There's just a lot bigger variety of things to be built.
I'd agree. How did Stromberg Carlson get its name then, if Brammer is the name of all the participants?
Yeah. So it's my mom's dad.
So, okay.
Einar Stromberg is my grandfather. And again, a Swedish immigrant, came here when he was 18. He grew up north of the Arctic Circle. And had he not come to the U.S., he would have ended up being an underground mining engineer. That's what his family did.
Wow.
In those mines up in northern Sweden. And which is interesting because when I go up to Michigan Tech, my son went to Michigan Tech, and when I go visit him, I liked going into the Quincy mines, imagining that. But then when they blow the candle out and you're only at stage 9 out of 89 levels, and you can't see your fingers, it's a really different experience, Greg. And
oh my!
I don't blame my grandpa for wanting to get out of there. He came to the States, moved to Detroit, attended night school. I mean, it's the old rode a motorcycle in the middle of winter to night school to become an engineer while he had a day job kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a very successful engineer and did a lot of work, not only for automotive, and he did Sikorsky work. He did, for the helicopters and stuff. And I know he did some top secret government work back in the 40s, which all makes us raise our eyebrows thinking it was the Manhattan Project, but we can't prove it at this time. We just suspect because can't talk about it.
Right. Absolutely. So how did you get involved then? You grew up in the business pretty much.
Yeah, I'm not as smart as my grandpa. I went to school to either go into advertising, marketing. I started school thinking I'd be a lawyer. That's what everybody does back in my day. We all thought we'd be lawyers, but what I found out is I'm really bad at arguing a belief I don't believe in. My heart just can't do that. I'm a one-sided guy. So I added the one degree I could add and still graduate on time was advertising and marketing. So I started studying that and added that in. I didn't drop my pre-law work, which was really studying the founders and different philosophical people like, it started with Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and it ended with the Federalist Papers, even up to Nietzsche and some of the more recent philosophers. I can't even believe I remember their names because God knows I don't make any money knowing that. But and I came home my very last term. I came home and I was fortunate. My dad helped me with my college, but the rule was I had to go have dinner with him, and he'd hand me the check. And that was the one time I met my dad at his favorite restaurant / tavern called Mode's Bum Steer. And you get everything from construction workers to bankers eating at this place. It was the big steakhouse in Traverse City. And at the end of that night, philosophizing with my dad about some troubles he was having at work, I went back to Lansing. I was in married housing, finishing my last term. My wife and I had part-time jobs. I worked at the Department of Commerce, state of Michigan. And I got a phone call from the State Chamber of Commerce. and they said, Mr. Brammer, we'd like to know if Stromberg Carlson would be interested in renewing its membership in the State Chamber of Commerce. And I said, I'm so sorry. I don't know how you got my number, but Bob Brammer, my dad, is who you need to talk to about that. And she said, no, we've already talked to your dad. He wanted us to call you. So I immediately called my dad, Greg, and I said, are you offering me a job? And he said, no, I don't know, maybe. Why? And, I explained to him how I was going to go to Chicago and I was going to work for Leo Burnett and I was going to be a big advertising guy and live happily ever after in a big city and big, right?
Right.
10 minutes after that phone call, I called my wife and I said, holy cow, hon, I think my dad was offering me a job. I mean, this could be our one chance to go back to Northern Michigan, our hometown, make a decent living, raise our kids where we grew up. What do you think? She goes, boy, I like the way that sounds, Bob. I go, I do too. I called my dad right back and said, hey, Dad, let's talk about that job. He goes, I never offered you a job.
Oh, no.
He pulled it back so fast, Greg. Well, that's a sales technique, right? He pulled that offer back so fast, he sucked me right through the phone in Traverse City.
So you went to work for him then?
I did. His first question was, are you used to eating peanut butter and jelly? And I said, of course I am, Dad. I'm a college student. He said, good. Times aren't good right now. I can't promise you a thing, but if you come up here, I'll let you drive the shop truck home at night. And, geez, I think I started at $15,000 a year, $16,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Well under any expectation a college grad had back in those days. But you know what? You don't starve at that either. So
right.
That's how we got started.
That's how you got. And when did you fully take over?
My dad passed in 95, I believe. But Greg, he had been sick for 6 or 8 years before that. I mean, basically, I got to work with my dad 2 or 3 years when he's still pretty healthy and active. But right after that, different health problems sprung up. And people in our industry who knew my dad knew that even though he died at 68, he crammed 90 years of living into 68 years pretty hard and fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So cardiomyopathy led to diabetes, led to cancer, led to a second round. But then the third round went to his liver. And he basically at that time chose not to do chemo and faded off gracefully. So
okay.
I remember he called me from Florida. He's living in a 35-foot Chieftain, Winnebago, while he was doing some treatments at Mayo in St. Augustine. He was down in St. Augustine in a campground going to Mayo up in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, hey, Bobby, why don't you send somebody down? Time to come home. I'm not feeling good and I want to get home. So I said, okay, I'll send Mark down. He goes, oh, no, don't send Mark. He's going to talk to me about Jesus. I know who Jesus is. Send Charlie. So he said, okay, little brother.
Okay.
You're going down and pick up Dad. Bring him home.
Okay.
He goes, what do I do if he dies along the way? I go, don't stop. Don't stop. Just keep driving. Just keep driving and get Dad home.
Oh, so, that's neat. And now you guys own an RV yourself, right?
Yeah, we do. As a kid, I grew up. I remember the whole progression when my parents were still married, Greg. We had, we did a pop-up camper because my dad was a fisherman and hunter. And then we did the travel trailer. And then I remember one day he came home from the Louisville RV show driving a Barth. And that thing, you remember the aluminum sided, it looked like a Christmas tree with all the lights coming down the road. So we did a little bit of that as kids. And then when my kids were young, it just wasn't on my radar. We rented RVs every year from TCRV. They had a great rental program. And I would always get a Winnebago, Mini Winnie, Class C, and I'd shove the kids up above with their little ponies or coloring books, and Mama and I drive up to the UP. We had a yearly trip. We did a big East Coast trip and a West Coast trip, but we did those in Winnebago Braves. I remember that motorhome. So
you've been doing RVing for a while.
Yeah, we have been. Our first one we bought was a Airstream. We got an Airstream Flying Cloud, and we really enjoyed that and did a lot of great trips in that. And then I remember my son worked a season at a trout shop in Montana for Kelly Gallup. Kelly's a world-renowned trout fisherman, great guy, just a couple years older than me in school. But I know Kelly, he's a super guy and great at what he does. So I trusted Gunner to go out there. Well, I ended up buying a used Airstream Safari and shipping it and having them set it up in what they call the Guido. Because Kelly, while he has a campground and everybody's very comfortable in it, the guides, they're, bumper to bumper, packed right in there. Nobody ever rolled out an awning in their life in that Guido. So, but my son lived in that for a summer and dragged that home. And then my daughter got married. I sent her on the road, and her and her husband at the time. And they did a 32-day West Coast honeymoon tour out to Seattle, down the coast, back through all the different campgrounds, or not campgrounds, national parks, coming home. And that was about the time Mama and I decided we enjoyed it as well, and we upgraded to a classic. But what I didn't see on the horizon was building our last house just a year later. So we ended up selling that. And Greg, we just took delivery of a DRV fifth wheel. And I know DRVs are for full timers, but like I told my wife last night, there's one thing we like full time, and that's being comfortable.
That's right. Exactly.
We just changed and we went to the fifth wheel, a little more space. We have a couple dogs we always bring with us, and
Roger and Cannoli.
Yeah, Roger and Cannoli. You got it.
Mm-hmm. What kind of dogs are they?
They're Basset Hounds.
Basset Hounds.
Basset Hounds. And that's the perfect amount of energy level. Give them a walk in the morning and the evening, and we're all done for the day. They're pretty content.
Absolutely.
So
super.
That's my speed now, Greg.
So what kind of products, what are your products do you think RVers are most interested in that you guys sell? I mean, you're not really, people find your products on RVs that they buy, or are all of your products pretty much accessories that they purchase after the fact?
Yeah, no, we do have OEM products, and that's the one most people are going to be familiar with, and it's the handrail right at the travel trailer or fifth wheel door. We do a folding handrail that's installed by the OEMs, and, we ship thousands of them a week down to Elkhart and around the country to be installed. And, when people climb into an RV, climbing's easy. You're balanced when you're climbing. All your muscles are engaged and your core's engaged. But when that handrail is so needed is when you exit a vehicle, right? Because when you're exiting, you're looking down, you're a little disoriented. It's a little scarier. You're reaching out. You're not quite as engaged as when you climb. So that folding handrail made by Stromberg, my gosh, we came up with that, Greg. My dad was still alive. That was one of my second product lines. I did a fifth wheel tailgate. That was my first product line. And my second one was this handrail. And it went from being a totally an aftermarket product. And Greg, the only way I could sell it, I'd go to an FMCA show, and I called it the happy hour handle. And that rang in because people were afraid to look handicapped back then. They didn't want to look handicapped. So I joke with them saying, hey, after your friends had a couple toddies at night, this is just a nice, safe way to get them back to their own unit, And, then we got it into an injection molded part, and that's when the look of it became very acceptable versus two extruded aluminum parts. And it's grown and grown. We've retooled that product line 6 times. I think at least 6 times in different plastic bodies, and stronger and more convenient, better looking. More standoff. There's doors continue to change, and we've had to change with them. And Greg, we do other products like tire carriers. Jayco's a great customer, and we should do a lot more. And we lost some business, obviously, the imports, but we still build a very large, heavy-duty tire carrier that's purchased at the OEM level. And
when you're talking about the handrails, the brand name that you call it, or what you refer to it as, is the Lend a Hand. Is that right? That's what people should look for? And
yep, the Lend a Hand.
And
that's right.
This is available as an aftermarket upgrade to make getting into and out of RVs even easier, right? Because the handrails come standard on any RV, but this extended Lend a Hand makes an even bigger difference for RVers, doesn't it?
It does. And the OEs, and they need to be, Greg. I mean, the one thing about our industry is they're very cost conscious. It'd be easy if everybody built a Mercedes-Benz, but that makes nobody very competitive, right? So sometimes small or standard rails get put on in situations where a much larger rail would be very nice. And That's why, like you were saying about the extended lend a hand, if you buy that, the footprint of that rail is within the same footprint as our most popular selling rail, just the lend a hand. So you can take one off your coach and put the bigger one on, and there's blocking in the wall. The little scars made to the skin of the RV will be covered with the new brackets, and it just fits nicely in place there.
Mm-hmm. You also do a lot of lifestyle products that really make camping fun. For example, your grill.
Yeah, actually, my buddy, if you go on the website, you see that blue chair, and we took mushroom caps, turned them upside down, bacon, blue cheese, asparagus. We love having different cooking contests when we go camping. A lot of my buddies from church, they have travel trailers, fifth wheels as well. And 2 or 3 times a year, we meet for the progressive cook-offs. They cheat. One of them brings a smoker, darn it, and the other one brings a deep fryer, but I always bring the steak and grill. And we all bring recipes for everybody's cooking attire, right? So we just have different fun going from campsite to campsite, trying the different foods.
And by steak and grill, it's STAKE because you just push it right into the ground and the grill swivels over the campfire. It's ingenious.
Yeah, well, in Michigan, all the state parks have campfire. We have campfire rings all set up. So when we get there, we just pound the steak in and lean the grill there. And then whenever we need it, you can warm up a crock of soup on there. You can warm up a pan of lasagna. We've done fillets at midnight, right? Every once in a while, you're staying up late, and telling one more story, and you run in and grab a fillet, throw it on those low burning red coals, and slice it up like bacon and serve it. Everybody just gets a bite. So yeah, it's a fun product.
That's neat. The other product that I really like is the hot stick. Describe how you came up with that idea.
Well, that's easy. It's just a fire poker.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, because too often when you're making those fires, you got to move things around, right? Now, I've had some trouble selling those in Canada. We do a lot of business in Canada. They're great campers, right? And I said to a guy once, I go, man, I had trouble up here. We got good volume, but not great volume. I thought we'd do better up here. And he said, well, Bobby, we all got a dozen hockey sticks in our garage.
Well,
I'm like, yeah, I never thought about that. All those broken hockey sticks, they're getting recycled doing something.
The hot stick is good because you don't have to go out and look for a big stick to stir your fire. You bring one with you.
Yeah, bring it with you. Stainless steel. It'll last forever. It's a nice product. Yeah.
One of your more recent developments or products that you had introduced is just so simple, but it makes so much sense. And that's the hose and cord caddy. Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, I was talking to a merchandiser at Camping World. We allowed to advertise one of my customers. Of course, I talked to a lot of customers, but she had come up to me and said, Bob, we really need a reel. We need a reel for water usage. We have them for electric cords, of course, but there's nothing to put your hose on. Well, my engineer and Greg, that took a year and a half. You just don't think of this stuff overnight, right? I just file these ideas away and put them away, and you keep kicking them around every time you're on a plane or you're sitting at a traffic light. It's like, have I thought about that for a while? And my engineer finally said to me, Bob, we're doing this wrong. This thing will never work on a reel. Everything wants to get bigger. And, I owned an Airstream at the time, Greg. I told you that. And I got to tell you, every time I went on a trip, because the little bit of storage I had was in the back end, right? Every electric cord, every hose that I carried bounced and trounced and expanded and got bigger and looped around everything, and my axe and my steak and grill and all my levels, and they just move around and they want to get bigger. And that's when we came up with the idea that it's got to be a basket. It's not a reel, it's a basket. And that's what we want these things in, a basket for containment. And then, to feed out the bottom, the unit, the end of the hose that just clips onto your RV and come off the top with what you need to get to your fresh water supply is just an easy way to keep that organized, bound up, and in a tight space. Right.
So you pull it right out of the storage bin.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And we sent the first couple hundred down to the Tampa RV show, and we called it the hose caddy. It's a hose caddy. Well, our rep called us by noon and said, we're all sold out. And I said, are you kidding me? And he said, well, Bob, everybody bought two. They bought one for their hose and one for their electric cord. And then we very quickly changed the name to the hose and cord caddy. And we learn along the way, right?
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yeah.
The Extend-A Shower is a product that has been tried and true for many years for you, and people still love it because they get bigger too, right?
Yeah. Even I got a little bigger during this COVID-19 shutdown. But yeah, it's a simple concept. Borrow space. It's already there. There's already room there. You just got to borrow it. Unlike a hotel room, we're all used to go to a hotel room and you got the big oval shower curtain that gives you more elbow space. But in an RV, you can't have that sticking into those small bathrooms full time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you need it, because you're in the shower, it expands out into the bathroom area. When you're in the bathroom area and you need that bathroom area for shaving, brushing your teeth, whatever it is, it'll fold back in over your shower pan. And that also lets you hang clothes there if you need to hang dry something, towels or anything you've done some laundry and maybe you don't have a dryer on board, that'll do it on the inside, right?
Right. A lot of people who are listening to this are full-timers, and they're taking care of their laundry while they're working, living full-time in their RV. And you've developed a product to help them get that fresh, hang out your clothes feel and smell to them with this clothesline. How does that work?
Yeah, well, it was the same thing, just coming up with different ideas, clothes arms that wouldn't move around in the wind. And our engineer, we were talking, and we came up with a bracket that just slides into your ladder, and then had all the RV ladders, there's 3 or 4 different manufacturers, are very similar size, not exactly the same, but within inches. And so it was possible to design a bracket that slipped in to, above one of the treads and then clamped on the 2 posts. And that made it secure. You didn't have to worry about it blowing around. And then we just added different length arms, Greg, whether you're just a husband and wife, the 27-inch arms would be the one I'd pick for you. If you're a big family, maybe you need the 36-inch arms. If we've actually even we built some 12-inch arm displays, things for dealers to have in their showroom so people could understand how this clothesline would work. And I had General RV call me out of Frankenmuth saying, hey, Bob, we need to buy one of these. And I said, you don't understand. We give away the displays. We want you to have that in your store set up. He goes, well, you don't understand, Bob. We sold that display. Now we just need another one. And I remember saying, no way. Who would buy that? But they hung it up in their bathroom. They liked it on the inside. And they ended up selling a dozen more of that season. We just put them in a brown box. I didn't do the whole 4-color thing because we didn't know how that would really take off. But they did sell a few more. So it was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it juts out at like a 30-degree angle. So the clothes just hang straight down, but they're spaced enough so that, you get a bunch of clothes on that line. And you can also hang out your towels and things like that too, if you're just out for the weekend and the kids are out swimming and getting dirty and things like that.
Yeah, and I may misunderstood you, Greg. We have 2 different models, right? We got one model where there's some permanent brackets on your bumper and you put your tubes up with some string in between. And then we have a little more deluxe model, the Extend-A line. And that's the one with the swinging arms,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hang things up on hangers and they don't slide up and down those arms because of stops we have there. But yeah, we do couple different kinds of clotheslines, actually.
Yeah. And so both of them would work well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other kind of products are you selling a lot of to full-time RVers?
Full-timers have a little different need, right? In a little different quality mind. What I like about full-timers is they'll invest a little more money on a product that's going to last longer or has the features because they can justify it. They're not looking for, say, a plastic leveler when they know that might break in a few years or get it on uneven ground at a state park. We are notorious uneven ground. So like, for example, right now, Greg, we're developing a line of rubber stabilizers, rubber chocks, rubber levelers, things to go between your landing gear and the ground to keep it up out of the mud, water, etc. And that's just an example of what we're doing right now. We also make extra platform step, exterior platform steps, adjustable and non-adjustable. And again, full timers, because they're out camping so much, oftentimes can get on uneven ground. And sometimes the step that the OEM put on their unit doesn't get them all the way to their ground conveniently. Is that a nice way to say it?
Mm-hmm.
Safely would be another way to say it. And so we make portable platform steps out of steel, out of aluminum. And right now our highest end model is a casted aluminum product, and we cast it to eliminate welds and guarantee the thicknesses of all the materials. Plus, by casting our legs, we were able to cast a flat foot on the bottom. Greg, our old step was a tubular design, and I'll tell you, as much as we would form different kind of steel plates in the bottom of a rubber boot, sooner or later, it just seems like that steel plate would bust out of that rubber boot. Well, we don't have that problem anymore with our new step. We've designed that problem out of it with this casted foot.
And a lot of RVs, they ship with good products when they're coming out of the factory, but when you're using them full time, you really need to beef up some of these products, don't you? Because you're using them more often.
You really do. They're being used more often by many people because now you have guests coming over more often, and in a lot of different kind of guests, right? From grandkids. I mean, everybody has that, but not a full-timer just has more of that kind of action all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You offer some products for active RVers too, like cargo and storage carriers for bikes.
Yep, we do a lot of carriers that go into the receiver hitches on the back because oftentimes more storage is what's needed. In fact, I started working for my dad, Greg. That was one of his product lines. He came up with a storage carrier. Unfortunately, what he never envisioned, and it was the jump that made him so successful, was going into the hitch. You know, people back in those days would make the assumption that the hitch is already occupied. And so he had two large brackets that had to mount up under the frame of the trailer or of the motorhome. And had he seen that being a hitch mounted product, that could have changed the young nature of our company a long time ago. But, we got into that game. We do bike racks. A lot of people want to bring their bikes, and, my wife and I do too. When we go to campgrounds, that's one of the activities we enjoy doing. It's just biking around. And when we go to the UP of Michigan, there's so many trails outside of the campgrounds that are just fun to ride your mountain bikes on. So we do a lot of different kind of carriers like that.
How many bikes can you fit on your carriers?
Our largest is 4. 4 bike is our largest. 2 bikes, most popular for sure. And, Greg, we do them off the bumper, but we also do them up front. And we talk about a place to put a bike rack. If you put it up on the front of the A-frame of a travel trailer, for example, right where you're hooked to your truck or SUV towing, that's the softest riding place on an RV, because you've taken a trailer and moved it into the cushion action of the vehicle. Now you're locked into the springs and everything of that vehicle. And when you're carrying a 4 bikes, I know you have to have a clearance for it all, but that's a natural place to put it. Too often, for example, I got a 40-foot fifth wheel, right? And I do put bikes off my back end on a real beefy Stromberg bike carrier. But you got to know I have independent suspension. My DRV has independent suspension. A lot of units don't. Mm-hmm. And what you've really created is a 15-foot catapult off that back axle to that back bumper. And the ride back there can be very jarring. And Greg, it's not going fast you get the jar. It's when you're going very slow and you create a whip over some of these bumps in a park. Or another notorious place would be heading on to a bridge or off a bridge, because the highway tends to be asphalt and the bridge tends to be concrete. And over time, you will create a swell as you approach or exit a bridge.
If people wanted more information about these products, where could they find it?
Yeah, we're online. We have a website, www.strombergcarlson.com. We have videos on installation, how-tos. But Greg, RV dealers built our business, not us. We're manufacturers and we're doers of the lifestyle, but RV dealers carry our products and they can be found. We have a dealer locator on our website. You'll find our prices are never the cheapest prices. we love for you to shop there, but I'd rather you buy it from our customers and get the support from your local RV dealer. That's what everybody deserves, right?
Absolutely.
But if you're having trouble, then look at our videos. We got them on YouTube: how to assemble a bike rack, how to use the Holden cord caddy, how to install electric tongue jack. Our tongue jacks are a huge business of ours right now for travel trailers, and we have all the how-tos and troubleshooting right on there.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for telling us a little bit about these products and about your company. And I wish you the best of luck this summer if we ever get to reopen.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get it reopened. Let's be careful. We got to be careful. But, my little hometown or my county only has 19 cases. It's been very frustrating to see an economy shut down for that. On the other hand, one of my old employees lost her mom to this disease. So you got to be cognizant. It's a real thing. We just have to be real careful as we creep back forward and get things up and running again.
I'd agree. Well, thank you again, Bob, and good luck this summer.
Thanks, Greg.
I would like to thank Bob Brammer, the president of Stromberg Carlson, for taking time to speak with us today. I have been up to Stromberg Carlson's facility in Traverse City, Michigan several times. It is a first-class operation run by true professionals who really care about customer service. The firm was built on solid Midwest values, and the people working there are just genuinely nice folks. They really enjoy listening to RVers and discovering where they are frustrated in the camping experience. Then the staff finds a way to fix that problem with a new product. Because Bob and his staff are active outdoor enthusiasts too, they are talking to RVers all the time. Just hearing them say, "I wish there was an easier way to store these hoses," turned into a product that was quickly adapted to accommodate power cords too. Just knowing that guys sometimes have a hard time squeezing into the confines of an RV shower led to the development of the Extend-A-Shower to give them a few more inches of room without remodeling the RV. It's products like that that really enhance the RVing experience, especially for people like work campers who spend all their time living, working, and playing in their RVs. When I was full-time RVing, I used a number of Stromberg Carlson aftermarket products, and they really made a difference. Even things as simple as an aluminum step makes it easier to do things in and out of the RV. I encourage people to check out the company's complete product line by visiting www.strombergcarlson.com. Then do what Bob suggests and visit a local RV dealer to buy the product and get help installing it if necessary. The website features a convenient dealer locator too. Workamper News, a magazine and online publication, connects RVers to full and part-time jobs around the country. Whether it is running a business from your RV or working short-term jobs for a variety of employers, Workamper News can give you information to help you plan a course to live your own dream and get you on the road faster than you thought possible. For more information about opportunities to live, work, and play in your RV, visit www.workampernews.com. This episode was sponsored by the National RV Training Academy in Athens, Texas. The Academy's one-week live training or home study course will teach you everything you need to know to fix about 80% of the problems people experience with their RVs. You can also sign up for additional training to become an RV inspector, campground technician, or to provide mobile RV service. For more information, visit www.nrvpa.com. That's all we have for today's show. Next time, we'll be going up to Maine to talk to a company that orchestrates kayak and bicycle tours and hires work campers each summer. Thanks for listening to today's episode of The Workamper Show.